instantly gets like 200 viewers every day.
Hey guys, welcome to the stream. This is Crucible Academy with myself and Real DP. This is brought to you by Fireteam Misadventure, which is a cooperation between Kaiju Labs Media and Bullet Heads. So welcome to the stream. So today is a delayed subject and topic. We were supposed to talk about this last time, but I was not able to make it to the show. We're going to talk about subclass issues and the state of subclasses in the meta. However, we got a tasty TWAB that we are going to go over because a lot of what we were talking about or going to talk about got adjusted or will be adjusted next Thursday. So yeah, let's get it going.
Oh no, spicy's not even the word, bro. I am giddy. I had chills when I was reading it, boy. Woo!
Was that a pun?
What?
Stasis,
no.
Chills.
But it was a good pun. That was a mistake. I love it. I love it. I got chills. They're multiplying. Sorry.
Yep. So before we get into the Stasis nerfs, and trust me, it is getting nerfed, a couple points to touch on. All these changes were supposed to come in Season 15. They fast-tracked it to come next week, which I super appreciate. Beware Crucible until next Thursday, because as DP can attest to, people are going to abuse it harder than they have.
I was in there earlier, like maybe an hour, because I had to start cooking dinner. Right before we started this, I did Control. I was the only light subclass in 2 lobbies. And then I went into elims. It was even worse. So I'm going to stay away from the Crucible until next Thursday.
Yep, for the best. And another bit that they talked about, so Season 15, they're going to do some more light subclass updates and buffs to try and bring them all back in line in PvP specifically. So something to keep in mind is that all these changes, I can't find specifically where they said it or if they said it, but it's heavily inferred that it is PvP only. Yes. So which is good. We want 2 separate balancings. And then they also did mention at some point abilities will be getting nerfed. Not necessarily nerfed, but duration and cooldowns will be nerfed. And it's going to be a higher focus on gunplay and movement. So
all for it.
Yep.
I've been saying it for, I don't know, 3 years. Please, these abilities are getting out of control, especially when they introduce Top Tree Dawnblade. The abuse on the Celestial Fire is insane, dude.
Yep, it's pretty nutty, some of the combinations right now. So with that, let's get into it. So starting with hotfix 3.2.0.3 is next Thursday, June 3rd. All these changes will be going in. So do you want to start us off, D?
Yes. Are we just going to start with the general stasis?
Yep.
Or
yep, we'll start there and work our way down.
General stasis. Oh, this is going to be so sweet to read. Stasis freeze. Reduce the duration of all non-super freezes versus players to 1.35 seconds, which, if we remember, is our normal, which I swear it's longer than 1.35 seconds, but they say it is. This freeze is too short to break out of, so breaking out is now only possible when frozen by a super.
In PvP. Okay?
Just in PvP. All this in PvP. Reduce, your special weapon, heavy weapon, and light ability bonus damage versus players from plus 50% to 5%.
Versus frozen players.
Yeah. So if you get frozen, you're really not going to do that much damage until they break out. It's now going to be used a lot more tactfully to get away from people. Is like basically the way I see.
Yep.
Stasis slow. No longer reduces a weapon accuracy. Yes, sir. Now increases the weapon flinch when under fire. I'll take it. If I can still shoot, that's fine.
Yep, that was my biggest complaint about Stasis for a long time. Is just
Shurikens. Good God.
Yeah, Shurikens, Duskfield, whatever it was, me not being able to fight on an even playing field because being slow is enough of a negative bonus as it is. So
Yeah. No longer, suppresses the class ability and air moves. This is where I had an issue. I can't dodge, I can't run, I can't jump, I can't do nothing because I'm slowed, and I had the weapon accuracy debuff. So thank God I can still at least dodge. Known issue: the Stormcaller's Ionic Blink is still, suppressed when slowed. We plan to address this in a future release. Reduced, movement speed penalty while slowed by minus 20%.
about 20%.
Huh?
That's about 20%.
Oh, about 20%. Yeah. So at least you can walk a little faster, right?
Yep, for sure.
The Whisper of, okay, I say Hedrons. Some people say Hedrons. Fragment no longer increases weapon damage after freezing. Thank you. Now increases the weapon's stability, aim assist, your mobility, resilience, and recover after freezing. So it's more of a thing to buff you and a little bit of your weapons, but not your damage. So no more 2-tap 120s because of Hedrons.
Yep.
The Whisper of Rhyme fragment. That's the new Warlock one, correct?
I believe so. I think.
No longer provides an overshield while in your super. I can't remember if that's... I don't have them because I don't really go for Stasis.
I don't use Stasis all that much. Yeah. So a lot of these are kind of over my head, but at the same time, they're nerfed, so it makes me happy.
Cold Snap Grenade. The Seeker no longer tracks targets after the initial target acquisition. Thank you.
Yep.
Increased arming duration before the Seeker spawns from 0.3 seconds to 0.8 seconds. Explain that one to me, because that one had me lost.
So basically, after you shatter a frozen target, the Seekers spawn in after a short delay. So basically, instead of it popping up at 0.3 seconds after a shatter, it pops up almost a second after the shatter.
Oh, so it's after the shatter. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Reduce detonation radius versus players from 3 meters to 1.5 meters. I'm cool with that. Now bounces off of walls and detonates on the ground. That's a very positive change as well.
Yep.
You want to go for the Titan?
Sure. All right. So Titan Behemoth, bane of my existence. So looking at recent gameplay data, the Behemoth generally has the highest win rate of any subclass in most 6v6 game modes, and also among the strongest in 3v3 game modes. Yes. Yes. Being tanky and fast. Yeah, it's scary. In Trials of Osiris matches, for example, only top tree Dawnblade has a higher win rate, which that makes sense. We've taken these strengths into account when balancing Behemoth's abilities. Between Shiver Strike and Cryoclassum, the Behemoth has incredibly high mobility, making targeting the Behemoth frustrating for controller players in particular. One thing to keep in mind is that with the tick rate and delays between connections, it makes it even worse so.
Even worse.
So we've taken steps to make sure to make the Behemoth more targetable while moving, which should hopefully alleviate some of these frustrations. So Shiver Strike, reduce flight speed and distance, reduce knockback versus players, and remove slow detonation on player impact. So it may not, like at a snap of the fingers, just immediately slam you against the wall and kill you via arc attacks anymore. Okay, cool. Works for me. Cryoclassum now requires Titan to sprint for 1.25 seconds before activation when not in super, and remove the cooldown. So, yeah, whatever. Go ahead. No?
Howl of the Storm. Reduce the angle of initial freezing damage cone. Reduce the crystal creation, freezing radius, which I'm happy because I would be 2 meters away from this thing that a Titan has and get frozen. Yet when I go to do it right on top of them, they don't freeze at all.
Yep.
Oh, wait. You were still reading, weren't you, Artych?
It doesn't really matter to me. It sounded like you... Yeah, keep going.
I was just, doing my third... Slow down the sequence of crystal formation to allow victims, not opponents, victims more opportunity to escape, which means I could dodge out the way now. Now spawns a small crystal on walls if performed into walls.
Cool. Yeah, that's fine. Glacial Quake, reduced heavy slam vertical freeze range versus players, which is great. I hate being frozen when being directly over the super.
Someone said, yeah.
That is dumb. And then reduced damage resistance from 50% to 47%. It's kind of negligible, but it'll probably make a difference in some fights.
It is easier to kill them now after the first initial nerf. So like damage resistance, I really want some for Golden Gun. I really do. Anyways, Let's keep going.
All right, Hunter Revenant. The Revenant's Crucible win rate, kills per minute, and average efficiency is generally within the top 6 of all subclass trees, but its usage rate is incredibly high. Yeah, we were discussing this before the show.
Yeah.
In Trials of Osiris matches, it is the 5th highest win rate of any subclass tree, but is used by a whopping 36% of Trials players.
A third of Trials players are using Hunter Revenant. Gee, okay, let's just stop for just a half a second here, okay? It says it's in the top 6 with you have the Behemoth and you have Top Tree Dawnblade, okay? What are the other 2 or 3 that beat the Revenant?
Probably middle tree with Geomags.
Okay.
Chaos Reach.
Out.
What else do we see a lot of?
Bubble Titan, maybe?
Less really. So. I don't see a whole lot of those.
I don't really. Yeah, I don't either. I'm just.
I don't.
Exactly.
Maybe middle tree, Whirlwind, Arcstrider.
I don't ever see those. Ever.
Anyway.
At least not on PC. Anyways, let's keep going.
It's pretty nutty. So, this high usage means players fall victim to its abilities more often, multiplying the frustration of being slowed by Withering Blade and Winter's Shroud. We hope that the changes we've made to being slowed, paired with the adjustments to Revenant's abilities, make the experience better. They will. Thank you.
Extremely.
Withering Blade, the bane of my existence, even to this day. Reduce slow duration versus players from 2.5 seconds to 1.5 seconds. That's pretty big. Yeah. Reduced Whisper of Durance slow duration extension versus players from 2 seconds to 0.5 seconds. So if you're using Whisper of Durance in PvP, it's basically just going to increase the slow from 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds. Yeah, I'll take it. Because being frozen for 4 seconds because somebody's using a different fragment, it's silly. Reduced damage versus players from 65 to 45 after 1 bounce, reduced further to 30 damage, which is awesome. Reduced projectile speed by 10%. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Reduced tracking after bouncing off a wall. Thank God.
Again, this is the second time that they've had to do that.
Yep. Winter's Shroud, reduce slow duration versus players from 2.5 seconds to 1.5 seconds, and then again, reduce Whisper of Durance slow duration extension versus players from 2 seconds to 5 seconds.
All right, so the Winter's Shroud is the dodge?
That's the dodge.
Okay.
Yep. So cool. Yeah, I'll take it. And then Touch of Winter, I think this is the new one?
Yes, this is the new one.
Cold
I haven't
Snap.
gotten it yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. Cold Snap Seeker no longer has increased movement speed or travel distance, and Cold Snap Seeker now spawns a small stasis crystal on detonation. So it's a definite nerf.
Oh yeah.
But then it's like a side grade, so more of a balancing change there. Do you want Shadebinder, or do you want me to?
Sure, why not? I'll give you a break. Shadebinder's Crucible performance is generally within the top 10 of all subclass trees. Not that bad. In Trials of Osiris matches, it had the 9th highest win rate of all subclass trees. By the way, I'm pulling all this data from the weekend of 5/14/21, but it generally doesn't deviate much between weekends. Dog launch weekend shook things up a bit, though. While the Shadebinder may not be the most powerful in competitive play, being frozen by its abilities takes a large emotional toll on the victim. I was experiencing that just an hour ago. You get, somebody one shot, and because of a melee ability, they just laugh at you. Ha, you're frozen. Anyway, we've adjusted Penumbral Blast to require more accuracy versus players, not PvE, in order to turn this ability into more of a skill shot given its powerful effects.
Good.
Penumbral Blast. Reduce the tracking and proximity detonation size and tracking versus players. Reduce the freeze radius versus players when impacting the environment from 2.7 to 1.5. That's a pretty big nerf right there.
This basically reverts it to the previous nerf.
Yeah. Ice Flare Bolts. The Seeker now only chains once when spawned from a player's shatter. Okay.
All right.
Winter's Wrath. Freezing projectile. Tracking strength now ramps down to 0 after 2 seconds of flight.
Good.
Thank God. We hope these changes have a positive impact on your Crucible experience. And yes, thank the Bungie gods, it will. While the gameplay team is very busy working on future releases, Crucible and the PvP community are incredibly important to us, and we'll continue to monitor gameplay data and community feedback regarding Stasis and subclass abilities in general. We'll continue to update Stasis until its win rates and usage rates are in line with light subclasses. Expect more updates in the future. Now, it says, sorry, I got something in my teeth. Right now, that it's going to bring it in line with the usage rate and win rates of light subclasses. Now, when they next season, I see Stasis getting adjusted again because they're going to adjust the light subclasses. So to get that balance, we're probably going to see some Stasis buffs again next season. But we'll see what happens.
But the general community feeling, at least scrolling through Twitter the last couple hours, is people are pretty excited.
Positive. I feel it's the people who aren't very skilled and they crutch Stasis because that's the only thing they got that are really mad.
Yeah.
Well, what am I going to do? I'm not a sweat. I'm not this. But when you had Stasis, you felt like you were a sweat. And you were a sweat because all you had to do was freeze and be toxic to people. And now you can't do that. And oh, poor is me, you know?
So, I'm excited for these changes. I still don't think it's going to truly ever be enough because being frozen still sucks. But hopefully these changes will alleviate some of the harsher feelings that people are having.
Usage rates of Stasis.
Yep.
There's still going to be hardcore people who are going to be using Stasis that when they figure out it's not near as powerful as it was, they'll either leave the Crucible altogether or they'll try to revert to a light subclass. But I say that's all going to depend on the light subclass balances in season 15 and 16.
Yep, absolutely. And less Stasis is good.
Less Stasis. Can we make a playlist where Stasis is not a thing? Like even if you name it original Crucible or something, or OG Crucible, or not non-Stasis Crucible, something to get the feeling of original Crucible without Stasis, because I feel that would be the most populated list there is.
Probably, at least from people that really like PvP without Stasis, and I'd be all for it. Although it's not going to do anything for trials or comp or anything like that. So, yeah, it is what it is. So, do you want to transition to our main topic?
Sure. Which is?
Our main topic. Basically, what else do we think could be done about Stasis and light subclasses to bring things more in line, and what would make it so that Crucible is back to being enjoyable again? So do we just want to go down the list of subclass types, the elements, or how do you want to do it?
Honestly, if you want to start on your favorite sub or on your favorite class, which I believe is still Hunter.
Hunter for sure.
Okay, or are you top tree Dawnblade now mainly?
No, I still firmly play Hunter for PvP almost exclusively.
You're still a Golden Gun?
Yep, top tree.
So although me and Artych have played together, just for me asking questions' sake, I went to PC. He's still on Xbox, and that's why we don't play together. But crossplay's coming soon. how do you feel? And this is something I've been meaning to ask you. How do you feel with crossplay coming that the console community is going to react to, say, the movement on these subclasses that PC players can get? Like with the instant turnarounds with a mouse movement.
It will always be jarring, and we experienced this when we got the bugged crossplay dealio. We jumped into a lobby of PC players on console because one of our guys was in charge of the lobby, and you know, it's always very jarring to have somebody just insta turn on you, and you know, unless you have that reaction time to properly deal with it, and you don't have the jump on them, you know, it's going to always be tough. And I understand why it's going to be mostly opt-in and dependent on who the party leader is of that squad. So it's going to be jarring. It's going to be difficult, but if you don't like it on console, you don't have to participate in it.
But there will be, see, that's my thing. There's going to be PC players like me that's going to get invited to, say, your party, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, does that instantly make it a PC lobby? Or, see, this is what I didn't get clarification
so what
from.
They said, if you are a console player that joins on a PC player's lobby, you are playing against PC lobby.
Okay.
PC lobby and PC players. If you're a PC player that jumped into a console player's lobby, you're playing console. So yeah, we're still going to have to deal with it if it is that system, for sure. But, you know, I hate to be that guy that says adapt. But I mean, that's the way that it has to be, unfortunately, unless there is an actual opt-out toggle.
Like, okay, yeah. That would suck, though. But because I miss my guys on Xbox. So if because I see it all the time, the melee difference, let's go with any subclass period. I noticed it with controller. I have my controller on PC, plugged in. It's not wireless. It's not anything. So I have my Xbox Elite, tournament series. When it comes to meleeing, they can melee faster because the keys register faster.
Yep.
We can literally, I can melee first and he'll still double melee before I can. So there's a lot of things that I feel with all these subclasses, especially Titans, because they are fast. That there's going to be a lot of issues. There's going to be a lot of gripe. I don't necessarily think crossplay is going to be good for the Crucible community.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the way I feel.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I feel potentially the easiest solution is to just keep those populations separate, unfortunately. For Crucible only, obviously, PvE doesn't matter. Use whatever you got. Play wherever you are.
When y'all start seeing the cheaters that we run into constantly, guys that are in 1100 with a revoker that never miss headshots, like literally they never miss any shots, flying insane unlimited rockets, that's where it's going to kill the console community, because we've already been dealing with it on PC for so long that it's almost natural. It's like, oh, he's a cheater.
If Bungie doesn't have a solution in place, it's only going to be exacerbated, and more people are going to be frustrated about it. And I still see it from my PC buds that complain about cheaters. Anyway, let's get back on topic.
Get back. Sorry.
Let's talk solar subclasses. So Hunter, Warlock, Titan. What are some of your favorites? And explain why the others aren't your favorite, and some things that you would like to see done to them to make them viable in Crucible.
All right. Obviously, my favorite is top tree Night Stalker. I love the invis. I spam it. Some people call it cheesy. I call it tactful, because I use it to disengage usually or to get a flank. But it doesn't last long enough for me a lot of the times to get a kill. Like I can get around you, but even in Invis, you have like a certain range that you can still see me on the map. Now, currently, I've been using Gemini gestures, and it's even more, I guess you say, toxic, but it is what it is. I feel it's less cheesy than freezing or melee abilities that track like Top Tree Dawnblade, and just it's a lot of things. I like the subclass. I love the subclass. I love the neutral game. Now the super, I just need one thing: faster activation. If it could activate, if you've ever used it, then you know you shoot it, and a lot of supers or an Icarus dash can get away from it well before it activates. So it's with the speed that all your subclasses are getting now, or have the capability of sometimes, it really needs its activation a little faster. Like the moment it hits, it needs to activate.
It needs to fly off the bow faster. The projectile needs to be faster, and it needs to activate on hit faster, 100%. Yeah, no, I used to exclusively run Top Tree Tether. That was kind of like the toxic subclass to use back before Stasis, just because of the invis dodge.
I don't know. I think about Spectrals. That might have been extremely toxic too with the wall hacks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really worried about the wall hacks. We have so much shit in the game that offers wall hack. That super was oppressive for a really long time, and then it got nerfed into the ground, and now has like 0 resilience on pop and all this other stuff. But I still see people use it, and they use it effectively, and they do the whole jump light attack to fly around the map quickly.
I see bottom tree as more of a because it is kind of a damage dealing super, but kind of a crowd control super. I don't. It's weird
it's
how
better
they did
for
bottom
PvE,
tree. Right.
Honestly,
that's what I was gonna say. So,
there are people that use it for PvP, but I mean, it's so easy to just lane someone off with that. So, yeah, no, it's not great. Although the invis melee smoke bombs, those are kind of nifty, but really only for PvE.
I feel for, I guess you could say, if I'm gonna stay on Void real quick, for Warlocks, I definitely gotta say they need to buff. I didn't want to say that word, but buff the Nova Warp.
Yeah,
for sure. The activation and the hold time to detonate is absolutely insane with the TTK values, and now you have a lot of things that can boost damage, and it's just laughable, especially with anything that's a Vorpal weapon. You can get one pop off and get destroyed.
Yeah, no, it has 0 resilience. It's just like golden.
The rest of it's fine. Like I still like the range and effectiveness of the handhelds, Supernova, all that. I used it the other day, and the super was basically useless. I mean, you're really only using it for handheld Supernova. Titans.
Hold on, let's cover the other.
Yeah. So Top Tree, Void, for Warlock. I feel it's in a good spot. I have no problems with it, honestly. Maybe the charging could be a hair faster on the nades.
Yeah, it could. I mean, there are some really nasty players I've run into that just completely cut off an entire zone with those nades. I agree. The super is good. It's better for PvE. But at the same time, it's not, because it counts as an entity and it can absorb your teammates' bullets. If you're in like a raid scenario. That happened day one, unfortunately. Do
you think that, say I'm on tether, do you think a tether, if I shoot my tether, should stop the Nova Bomb in midair?
I think any super should be able to shut it down.
I see. I've always agreed with that. Say if I'm on Goldie, I can lay 6 golden guns into this thing and it just laughs and it's like, I'm still gonna kill you.
Yep.
So I feel if you use your super, if you burn your super to kill that Nova Bomb, it should kill it and not have the trackers come out.
Yep, I agree. And then bottom tree, so you got the smaller Nova Bomb that launches out faster. Honestly, I think they need to change it or have a super that changes it in some way. So, right now it's kind of like D1 Lance, sort of, but honestly, the projectile speed needs to go faster.
I've said two things: either bring back Shatter, which is D3. I love that in D1.
The smaller
That
three.
that was my honestly. I used to love to go in there on some like wizards or something and just destroy them with Shatter, or just bring back Lance, because like right now I call it's the macaroni super. It'll go out and then it'll just go. Floop.
Yeah, no, it flops pretty quickly.
Yeah, quick.
Again,
but the neutral game's good.
Yeah, the neutral game is pretty good. Devour is fantastic for solo PvE content, but in the context of PvP, you got better choices.
Yeah,
so, and then for Titans, Titan Void, which one do you want to start out with?
Let's just go top to bottom. Your bubble. It's got the shield bash. I think
suppressing shield bash.
Yes, suppressing shield bash, which between the 3 shoulder charges, that's the one where the hit registration is wonky to me.
Yep.
It doesn't land as consistently as the other 2 shoulder charges for Arc and Solar. The bubble is amazing for trials, clutch up wins, Iron Banners, zone caps. I like the bubble. Do I
bubble
feel
is kind of a cheese play for PvP?
It is, but it's effective.
Yeah, no,
it does its job.
There have been times in trials where we had somebody running bubble, and it can absorb 3 Hunter Revenants. It can absorb basically everything except for Behemoth right now.
Or a Thunder Crash.
That's true. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, there's very few that, even if you go in Golden Gun and you get a lucky shot, which I'm not going in a bubble with Golden Gun, but if you happen to get in there, you can one-shot them. I think top tree takes 2 shots actually. And beyond that, there's not very many supers that can deal with it. You can unload an entire Dawnblade, top or bottom tree, and still do nothing about it.
Yep. So absolutely. So it's a niche play, but
I will say a good counter to a bubble is another bubble.
That's true.
I've done that. I've jumped above their head, popped my bubble, and we're just sitting there punching each other relentlessly. It's quite hilarious. It is fun.
Yeah.
Middle tree for PvP. Not really.
No.
I mean,
honestly, though, the whole Titan Void subclass is PvE focused. Banner Shield really good for Grandmasters and other stuff, but PvP
ad clearing. That's one of the best ad clear supers in my opinion because of the neutral game with the Void Detonators. They're insanely good if you know how to use them properly.
Yep.
And then your bottom tree with the double shield throw, I think it's kind of meh. And
meh for PvE and PvP.
Yeah, it's I would say it's probably the most underused, subclass on Titan probably.
Yeah, honestly, if they're going to do anything about that one, just turn it into Captain America, just constantly be throwing shields and call it good.
Which you used to be able to do with, what was it, Doomfangs?
I think so.
I used to do it when my favorite activity, and a lot of people don't agree, was why can't I think of it now? Where you had the long bridge, and you just had to constantly. Who? Yeah, the Reckoning. I wanted to call it the Ranch. I knew that was wrong, but that was my favorite activity because there was more possibilities of using different builds.
Yeah,
and it was great.
But in the context of
PvP,
we keep getting off track. But
I know, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. With PvP, just don't use it.
I have ADHD. I just want to put that out there. Bad. Like I have my squirrel moments. I'm like, oh, look, a squirrel. But going to Solar, if you want to start.
Yeah, we'll start with Hunter. Golden Gun is my tried and true choice. I personally prefer Top Tree Golden Gun, mostly because it's great for shutting down Stasis supers. It takes a couple shots for Behemoth and one shot for the others, but I like
Even
it.
if you hit them in the head,
Even
it
if
takes
you hit
more
them in
than
the head.
Wow.
Yep. Um, so that's what I've been using for like 3v3 content.
I've, I've watched your streams, when you stream and you're always on Top Tree Goldie.
Yep, and the combination between I really like the explosive throwing knife. I've done some dirty things with it.
It does some
and
good damage.
Yep, and that in combination with trip mine nades are fun. Trip mine nades, you got to get used to playing angles with them, but I have done some dirty things.
I've
in
done that on
combination with trip mine.
Artych.
Yeah.
It's definitely a learning curve there.
Yep, for sure. That's what I like to use. Again, the biggest issue that all the top and bottom tree have is just zero resilience whatsoever.
That's horrible.
Why?
I don't know. I've never understood that.
I don't know either. And they did nerf top tree golden gun because it used to have the same range as the bottom tree, but they nerfed the amount of range that it has, so you can't just cross map somebody with top tree.
Now, if you're not, I would say if you're more of an aggressive player, yes, obviously Stompies, Wormhusk, Dragon Shadow, things like that. But I just had a training session with someone who had literally one exotic for hunters because he just went to hunter, and he had the Ophidius Spaith. And he goes, "What do I use?" I said, "Seeing how this is your only exotic, let's go to Top Tree Gunslinger."
Yep.
And he joined our clan night, the explosive knives, and like I showed him, I said, use. I know you want the reload dodge. I believe that's the marksman's dodge. But the gambler's dodge will give you back your melee. Yep. He spammed those explosive knives so much. It was annoying, but not to the point where it was broken.
Yeah.
But they're nasty, dude.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
They're nasty.
And then
middle tree.
Yeah, middle tree. The old meta of Crucible. There's always something that hunters have that are just busted. Right now they are a niche play. So if you're running, what's the super called? I forget.
Blade Barrage.
Blade Barrage. That be it. And if you're running Shards of Galanor, I mean, you're gonna get your stuff faster. And
I would say not enough to warrant the use because there's shirts out there that say I solo Blade Barrage. So it's like you can use it in PvE again. Let's just say with the Shards of Galanor, Gambit Specialist, anything that's a big beefy target, and you can just keep getting it back a lot faster.
It's actually an interesting play for Atheon right now.
Atheon, I watched Mystery's team do that. Shout out to Mystery, good try. But it's still good in PvP. But it's like you said, it's more of a niche thing. Like, oh crap, there's another super. You can launch it across the map and shut them down. It's good. For overall, I mean, I feel
it's use in Mayhem to get your challenges done.
Yeah, for sure. Or you can go Top Tree Goldie and just
Yep, same thing.
Which I was using Top Tree Goldie in Atheon inside Venus on day 1 to add clear. Great, man. Really good. Bottom tree, I can't say enough.
Yeah, I like it. It's good for PvP and PvE, especially in combination with Celestial. But
I feel that the best perk that they could have brought over for Golden Gun from D1 was practice makes perfect.
Yep. Yeah, and that's great.
Yeah, it's awesome in PvP, it's awesome in PvE. It don't matter. It basically cuts your super in half. You don't have to get a crit kill. You just got to get a hit. And if you're using like Chroma Rush or anything like that, and you're just spamming headshots and you don't even get the kill, you're still reducing that super. It's still good.
Yep, still good. And transitioning to Warlock. So top tree Dawnblade.
My bane of existence in this freaking game.
If you're going to run Warlock, there are only 2 subclasses you should be running. top tree Dawnblade, and middle tree Stormcaller. So yeah, obviously the neutral game and the movement, absolutely insane. The Celestial Fire melee is busted.
Still.
Yep, and it probably will be, and especially with combination with the Poison Gauntlets.
The necrotic grips.
Yep, there you go.
Now,
so,
I really like them with Karnstein, and I like them with the Claws of Ahamkara.
Yeah, you've got choices, but the damage that it deals,
necrotic grips, yeah,
and then the damage over time, it almost guarantees a kill if you have like 6 resilience or less or something like that.
And it will track, and the splash damage on it, I think.
Yeah, you don't even need to be aiming at anything. You just send it, and they'll find the target. So it's pretty busted. And then middle tree Dawnblade, Well of Radiance. Again, niche play for PvP. I have a buddy that does
spam heal nades.
Well, I mean the heal nades, and he uses Crimson a bunch. Shout out to Dragosnov, a good friend. But he does his, he'll punch somebody and then drop well and splatter them against the wall, and he just has compilation videos of those, and it's great.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Niche play for PvP, PvE, it is almost required. So,
yeah.
And then bottom tree.
This is okay. Before we start, I enjoy this subclass. I do. If I had the choice to go back to the D1 super system, I would definitely do Icarus Dash, Celestial Fire, and keep this super and this ability that I like to use it. I do. It's where you just jump and you do I can't remember what it's called, but you jump and you dash to the ground and you instantly heal.
Phoenix
Dive. You can spam that constantly. So you don't have to double jump. You literally just go around a corner, jump off the ground, and do it insta health. It's like Worm Husk, but better in my opinion. For Dawnblade. So if you know how to use it and you're getting kills with the tracking swords, you're extending your super, because top tree Dawnblade swords are ass.
Yeah, no, they're not great. So bottom tree Dawn, very okay. You gotta use Chorus Dawn and PvE to make it worth using. You just have better choices.
There.
Honestly, it probably just needs a full rework because it's just not as good. So,
Titan,
you're gonna have to lead the way on this one, because outside of Middle Tree and Burning Maw, I don't have a clue as to which
love
top
Titans.
or bottom.
Okay, so I've always been a Hunter main since D1, but I love my Titans. Okay, I'm not big on Warlock and PvP. I don't like how slow they are. Titans, yes, they're slow, but they're beefy. Just had an argument with saying, oh, well, if you have the same resilience, no, a Titan, resilience and a Hunter resilience are two totally different things. But Titans, top tree solar, I enjoy the shoulder charge. It's quite fun, especially if you jump in. The knee is way more consistent than the ground. Just to give you a heads up, if you're going to do a shoulder bash or you're going to do a shoulder charge, then jump right before you do it, and the knee is way more consistent. I've seen some crazy shoulder charges out of Titans because of M&K. It's nuts. You have your melting point on that for PvE. Used to be the go-to. D1, D2.
Mm-hmm.
Other things have come out that have left it completely in the dust.
Mostly because it's less risky to use those other buffs.
Way less risky. Beyond that, the subclass itself, like the splash damage from the super, very good. If you know there's someone around the corner, you can still get the kill. Now, I was in control the other day, and I was on my Titan, and I used bottom tree, which I love, bottom tree because of sunspots. But there were 4 people on B in burnout. 4. I threw a hammer directly at all of them. They were grouped up. I killed one. The other ones got away. How? I have no clue how, but they did. I felt if I was on top tree hammers with the splash damage, I got all 4 easy, no problem. The only problem I have with that super is it doesn't last long enough.
Yep.
There's no real reward to using it. It is an ad clear for sure. You know, a middle tree. There are things that can enhance it that we were doing some crazy numbers and things with the throwing hammer, like 1,000,000 damage throwing hammer. The super itself is okay. I love the tracking. It got a nerf to its tracking, but it still tracks okay.
It still goes under walls and around corners and stuff. It's still pretty good.
The explosive height damage is they've reined it in to where it's not, you can be 18 feet in the air out of a joining ally zone and you still get hit. You know, that got reined in. As far as the super goes, it's still good. But it's meh. It's not PvP oriented. It can be, but it's a niche thing like Blade Barrage. Yep. Bottom tree, which I feel is the best of the solar subclasses, is your sunspots. Yep. The melee abilities make sunspots on kills. Your nade, abilities make sunspots on kills. If you don't know what it does, it's called, Sun Warrior. It increases the speed at which you get your abilities back, which is in the 5 seconds is crazy. The super, lasts longer, and you can throw hammers faster.
Yep.
So every time you make you're basically just going to jump from sunspot to sunspot.
Yeah. In combination with Ashen Wake and fusion grenades is busted. It's an insta kill.
It's an insta kill, and you get the nade right back. If you've not watched iFrostbolt, he did, I want to say 10 kills in a row with it.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was crazy. I guess let's go to Arc.
Yeah, we could start with Hunters again.
Okay.
So, I mean, really, for the context of PvP, middle tree, or
I don't like any
Arc Staff.
Like any of it.
Arc Staff used to be really good, all 3 trees. But now it's really a middle tree is really the only way to pick, and even then, it's still kind of meh. Obviously,
I think the Tempest Strike needs work.
It's good, but it could be better.
That's what I'm saying.
I've played some nasty players, but being able to go straight from a Tempest Strike into a double or triple jump is also kind of fun. It's cool. Being able to reflect any super that is shot directly at you or any projectile back at somebody else is...
Not Stasis.
I know, not Stasis. I'm not talking about Penumbral Blast and...
None of it. Sucks. I tried. I did my testing.
Well, you can block the first shuriken from the Revenant, but not the second, which defeats the purpose. You used to, like when Stasis first came out, you could. But
and there's an exotic for it that I feel they tried to go in the Geomag's direction with Raiju's harness.
Yep.
It's just not worth using over other exotics. It's just not. Like, if you're in trials and you're gonna pop your super, like, maybe switch to it to turn it off after using it. Yeah. And then switch back, but I just don't see it. It was like the Titan, Arc thing with the Eternal Warrior. But
yeah, I mean, you got better choices in other subclass for Hunter. So none of those 3 trees are really worth using.
I do like the bottom tree. There's things in each tree that I like. I love the Deadly Reach on top tree. Mm-hmm. After dodging, you increase your melee distance, and I like the bottom tree for what's the melee called? Disorienting blow.
Yep. That'd be it.
I believe that's bottom tree because the top tree is combination blow.
Yep.
So I like ones from all of them, and I love the Tempest Strike. I just feel it's inconsistent.
Yeah.
But it's not PvP for me.
I mean, it's not really PvE either. Outside of like doing something like Liar's Handshake.
I think it needs a rework
shotgun
completely.
Yeah. So they all need help. shifting to Warlocks. I mean, top and bottom tree are nice for PvE. I've seen some people do some nasty stuff with top tree and Crown of Tempests.
In a PvP?
Yeah, PvP with
because
like
of
a
the blink.
6v6. Yep, Ionic Blink and whatnot. But honestly, if you're in more of a competitive scene or even just 6v6, middle tree is really the only way to roll with Geomags.
With Geomag. Now, I have seen a lot of people keep their transverses on, and before they use it, they throw the Geomags on right at your magazine.
Yep.
That way you build it up and then use it and then switch back to transversals, which on PC, it's not hard at all. You just click, done. I don't know how it is on console anymore, how fast it is with the newer systems.
Yeah, it's still pretty quick.
Yeah, good. Okay, cool. Because it used to be slow to load your inventory, slow to load everything, and I haven't been over there in a while. So
yeah, it depends on what generation of console you got. I got the Series X, and it's almost instant, so it's still pretty quick.
I do like the nades.
Yeah.
With the chain lightning, it just keeps going back and forth to each other. And
arc web is disgusting. So
if you don't realize what's going on and you're not a PvP player, it's like, why do I keep getting electrocuted? Because your teammates are following you. You really have to pay attention when you see a storm nade or anything like that to, am I still getting shocked?
Yep, absolutely. And then Titans.
So, top tree, which is your shoulder charge. Somewhat inconsistent. I have, shoulder charged, people and just push them back.
Yep.
And like, okay, I obviously hit you, but it didn't register, but it's still not as inconsistent as the actual, shield bash from, Void. I love the double nades. I like the super. I think it's a decent duration for PvP.
Yeah.
It's really, really great in combination with Insurmountable Skullfort because you can just keep shoulder charging and keep shoulder charging and keep shoulder charging.
Yep.
It's a nasty combo. Dune Marchers are good for that, subclass. Any Arc subclass, Dune Marchers are amazing for, honestly speaking.
Absolutely.
A shoulder charge class is actually really good with Dune Marchers, but especially Arc. Your middle tree,
your Thunder Crash. I mean,
Thunder
if you're going to
Crash
use Arc Titan,
has made its huge debut in PvE for the first time, in my opinion. Now, personally, I've been using it in PvE for a long time with Insurmountable Skullfort. You do that ballistic slam into ads, and you get your health generation. I spammed it in the forges. That was my go-to. I'm like, if I'm gonna grind forges for whatever reason, I went to a middle tree arc with Insurmountable Skullfort. It's a disgusting combo.
Yeah.
With hands on.
Yeah. But in the context of PvP,
it's good.
Yeah.
With the Dune Marchers, it's okay with Insurmountable Skullfort because you don't necessarily always get a kill with it. So definitely more of a Dune Marchers thing to do that. The only issue is the after animation thing. It takes a while to get out of the animation for controller players.
Yeah.
For PC players, it's a little faster. So just beware of that when crossplay comes.
It's a good panic super. It'll shut down just about everything. If not.
A lot of damage resistance during activation.
Yeah. And not to mention the kind of shenanigans you can get into with just flying around everywhere. So there's that too. And then bottom tree.
Bottom tree used to be the only thing that you've seen a Titan run in PvP.
Yep.
Because of how long it would last. And since the nerfs, I hardly ever see it at all.
Yeah, I think I see one in a blue moon. So
yeah, and it is sad because it is a good super. It is a PvP super.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Absolutely.
That and the Thunder Crash were all PvP supers, and now with the Titan chess piece, the Cuirass of the Falling Star, it is almost it's better than Bubble almost.
Yeah.
Like they're both equally as good for whatever you want to do. It's like, well, I can run bubble. Do you have chess piece? No. Oh, okay, well then just run bubble. If you have the chess piece, let's go ahead and use that too.
Yep.
So overall, I would say top tree's probably the weaker of the three.
Yep, absolutely. So wrapping up just about everything,
Yep.
to wrap it back to Stasis. After reading all the changes that are incoming, is there anything else that you would like to see changed or updated?
Honestly, the damage resistance for the hunter during the activation, I run into it all the time. I'm unloading into a hunter, but because he activates his a revenant, I'm still unloading,
Yeah.
and it'll always get him to about 20% health left, maybe 15%, and it's like it does no more damage, and it's like I should be able to melt you if I can get melted in your Night Stalker, in anything else. It has a little too much damage resistance. If two people are shooting at it, they'll get the first one off, maybe not the second.
Yep.
But definitely the damage resistance.
Yep. I agree with that. And then really my only other thing that I could think of is just getting rid of any other debuff or nerf that you receive for being in a dusk field. I get that they changed the accuracy debuff to being the rest of everything. I think being slowed and frozen is enough than having a recoil debuff on you too. So
all right, so with Stasis and with the dodge ability and what it can do now with Stasis, I've always been I've always had a big question mark because of this, Stasis Titan Slide. Every 5 seconds you get 2 of them. Now it requires them what? It will every 1.25 seconds,
Yep.
but it said it reduces the Cryoclassum. There is no cooldown.
Yeah.
So that they can literally just keep doing that slide infinitely now.
Yeah.
Top Tree Dawnblade gets 2 fast Icarus dashes every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So when all this was happening, and now this is going to happen to Titans, why are the dodge? Why did we get a 2-second nerf? I've never understood that. I don't think it was busted at all.
No, I think the reason they did it was strictly because of Bacchus.
Well, okay, so I did some testing on numbers and length. The dash can literally go halfway across almost any single map there is in the Crucible. I tested on every map. If you know how to use your burst glide and that, you can get around. It's bananas. There is no distance you cannot cover. For the Titan slide, you can go 20 meters with 2 slides. One dodge only goes 6 meters. Okay, and you only get 1 dodge every 11 seconds now. That's with Dragon Shadow at a +8 mobility. You get a 6-meter dodge every 11 seconds. So the hunters went from the most mobile to the least mobile.
Yeah.
I think the hunter has received more nerfs than any other subclass there has been, and I'm really questioning why. Because there's a lot of us. I mean, I'm not gonna say go back to 9 seconds and give us a 10-meter dodge, obviously with the whole stasis thing now. But do something.
Yep.
Do something.
Yep, I agree with that. So with that, we have covered every subclass, every subclass tree for all 3 main classes. And we gave our thoughts. A few of them we gave our thoughts on what could be adjusted or fixed. But with us running out of time, we kind of sped run a few of those. So, those are our thoughts. Take it for what it is.
I say it's going to be on YouTube. Leave your comments down below. Tell us what you think. If our thoughts are misstrued to you, or if you have even more, because like you said, we did kind of speed run through this. So yeah, I'd love to hear your comments.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're in the Bullethead server, you can message us directly or in any of the PvP channels. If you want to be a part of Bulletheads, you can go to bulletheads.org, or you can search us up on the forums on Bungie.net. You can get set up there, and you can join us for all the fun and festivities. And do you have anything else, D?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Slayton, who is our provider of all this with Kaiju Labs Media. Slap that like button, hit the subscribe on YouTube, the follow on Twitch, everything.
Yep, absolutely. And we wouldn't be able to spew our opinions if it weren't for him and the cooperation between Bulletheads and his company. So
awesome guy.
Yep, absolutely.
Which, by the way, I love your new dinner plates for the Disney, villains. It's awesome. I still don't agree with the Smallin doll. I still think it's dumb, but that's just me.
Yep. So
you
anyway,
Artych or Artych. This.
Yeah.
It's so opposite.
Nope. Other way. Yeah.
All right.
Whatever. Anyway, that does it for us here at Fireteam Misadventure and Crucible Academy. In a couple weeks, you could probably expect a PvP. Potentially depends on where it falls, because I know it kind of falls between when I'm gone and you're gone, so we might be on a hiatus. But definitely look forward to Fireteam Misadventure as well as our lore podcast. I know working hard on those. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we will catch y'all next time.
Have a good one.